What is up? Welcome back to another video episode of the news. It is Monday. It is Monday. It is Monday.
Wrong call.
Monday. So let's get into the news. Remember, if you join the channel, you get access to exclusive content, early access to other content, the ability to vote on upcoming videos, and of course, that special shout out once a week. Join the channel if you can. I appreciate that support, but if you can't, just like the video and subscribe. That means a lot as well. Unfortunately, we're kind of in a weird place this week, as there's going to be a lot of news breaking later this week. Notably, the Lucky Color film should be announced this weekend at the Expo in China, and Harman posted something on their Instagram story. It looks like they're dropping the Harman Phoenix version 2 film relatively soon, probably before next week. If that's the case, I will have a fresh video going over just that when it is released, and then next week we'll do a follow-up on that, as well as the Lucky Color 200 film that is presumably set to be released. So we'll get to that next week, but for this week, we still have a few things to talk about coming at us from Reflx Labs blog posts. I will link it down below if you're interested. This was posted July 10th, so a few days ago, but this is about the new Kodak Vision 3 with the AHU anti-halation undercoat as opposed to the remjet. Now, Reflx Labs got their hands on some by the sounds of this article, and they were able to shoot a few frames of it in a test roll, and they delivered those results. But let's dive into some of the info here because it's pretty important. As you know, the Cinestill 800T, Reflx Labs 800 Tungsten, Amber 800, any of the 800 Cine films are all derived from Vision 3 500 Tungsten cinema film with the remjet removed. Now, when you remove the remjet, that makes the film a little bit more sensitive to light, meaning it gets that extra few stops from 500 up to 800 sensitivity. And beyond that, because you're removing the remjet, you're removing the halation layer, meaning you get those halations basically from light sources, and any of like the reflective sources create that level of halation. With the new Vision 3 film with the anti-halation undercoat, it doesn't need the remjet removed because it still has the halation element in there, and it can be developed in C41 as opposed to the ECN2 that the motion picture is typically developed in. So Cinestill, all of these companies would buy, back in the day, giant rolls of Vision 3 500T, remove the remjet, and then recan it. Removing the remjet means you can develop it in C41, but you get the halation. Obviously, this not having remjet in it means it doesn't have to be removed, meaning you can just kind of recan it as is. Now, what Reflx Labs is proposing in this is because you can develop it in C41, it's a more potent chemical process, meaning the film is more sensitive to light. So they actually, believe, shot all of these at 640 ISO, and they propose potentially even shooting it up to 800 ISO because it will have that additional level of sensitivity to it. There's no halation because there's the anti-halation undercoat, and beyond that, there is a bit of a cool tone to this, and that's because this is inherently going to be balanced towards tungsten. So anything you shoot outdoors is going to look more blue, anything you shoot indoors is going to look more natural. A lot of these shots are outdoors, kind of during the daytime, so it's hard to see what it's going to look like in low light, but even the few low light images here look pretty nice, I would have to say. From what it sounds like, this is going to be the next evolution of the Kodak Vision 3 cinema film because it's going to be a lot more cost effective. It's going to be a lot more simplistic for different labs to develop. So we could be seeing this in the future, but it is again unclear what the release is going to look like. As far as it stands currently, their Vision 3 35mm 400-foot spools are only available if you are like doing a film production. There are ways to kind of cheese that, I'd imagine, but we'll just have to kind of see how it plays out. Still kind of waiting to hear from Kodak when this is going to be released, wide scale, if it is going to be released. It seems like it's a bit of a pilot program as it stands, but we could be seeing the revitalization of the secondhand recanning market. So keep our eyes peeled on that. Speaking of coming back, we have a tariff update. Yes. I've hesitated to talk about the tariff situation because There's been a whole lot of news, and a lot of it has been contradictory, but it does appear as though we have some concrete, actionable information, at least for Japan and Korea. Japan obviously is the home of many camera manufacturers, primarily Fuji, Sony, Nikon, Sigma. I think some of those are being produced in like mainland Asia, whether that's Indonesia, China, Vietnam, any of those places. I don't know if they're shipping directly from Japan, but regardless, the tariffs from Japan and Korean goods imported to America will be, I think, a 25% increase in cost, and that goes into effect August 1st. I'll put a link for that article down below because I'm sure there's some other stuff kind of in there, but big headline is tariffs are actually happening. I know that there are some products, specifically the Fuji X-Half, that was released relatively recently. I believe the price was inflated a little bit in order to kind of contend with the incoming tariffs. So we could be seeing more prices gradually raising over time, or the prices of goods have just kind of gone up because they're anticipatory towards the tariff. Not great news overall, I would say, but probably great news if you live in other countries, presumably. I don't know how that's going to affect like global economics, but that's just something to kind of bear in mind. But moving on from that dour subject, we have a new ad campaign from Polaroid, which is kind of reiterating the importance of physical media, trying to fight back against the iron fist of the AI, and looks pretty cool overall. Polaroid as a brand is very much deep-rooted in that sort of moment capturing physical media space. So I think that's a really good thing to see overall. One of the most effective tools I've ever bared witness to in selling me on Polaroids was a video going over Wim Wenders' obsession with Polaroids. Wim Wenders obviously is a very famous German director. He made Paris, Texas, which is a phenomenal movie. And this video that's kind of ages old on the internet, really inspiring to make me want to shoot Polaroid. Most of my attempts at shooting Polaroid have ended in drastic failure, both financially and mentally, I would say. But this is a very good ad campaign. It shows that they're being aware of the times and hopefully will inspire some new consumers. So we'll see. And then finally, we have a new app. This is actually from a viewer of the channel, kind enough to send me an email bringing this to my attention. But this is an app called Frames, and it is a digital way to track your analog photos. The app is available for iPhone and for Apple products, I would say overall. It's just an easy way for you to take notes on your phone with the film that you shot, where you shot it. You can put locations for each roll. You can put the settings that you shot it at. So if you, like myself, maybe shoot with some more expired film and you want to be able to like track that actionable data and like, okay, maybe I need to shoot at different settings the next time, so on and so forth. That's a great way to use that. Or again, if you, like myself, just shoot a lot of film and you want to do a better job of keeping track what film you shot and where, this would be really handy. I tried at different times in my life to take a notebook with me and like try to jot things down, but you get very caught up in the moment, and sometimes it's easier just to pull out your phone, type some stuff in. So this could be a very helpful tool in assisting you with that process. Very cool to see, and I will link that down below if you want to check that out. Before we wrap up the news, I want to give another quick shout out to my friend over at Colorful Analog Cameras. Remember, if you want to customize your film camera, there are a few better ways in which you can do that. I will put a link to her shop down below. Check that out if you're interested. And I also want to give another shout out to Reveni Labs. Remember, the Lumo light meter is on pre-order. It's going to be shipping later this month, so make sure to put in a pre-order for that. So that's pretty much it for the news today. We have some upcoming news from Lucky with their Color 200 film set to be released this week. We also have Harman potentially releasing a new product this week as well, so we'll be keeping you updated on that. Kodak's new cinema film with an anti-halation layer has been shot with. The Tariffs for Japanese and Korean products have been soft launch released, set to go into place August 1st. Polaroid dropped a new ad campaign, And there's a new app out there to help you keep track of the film that you shoot, when you shoot it, how you shoot it, and with what you shot it with. All very good information to keep in mind. As mentioned, that's pretty much it for the news. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Remember to like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future content. And I will catch you all on the next one. And I'll try to shoot these videos earlier so I don't have this like noir look to it. I feel like it looks very dark in here, like I'm plotting or something, but I promise you I'm not. Alright, thank you again, and I'll catch you later.